Welcome to Afrikaans, the very easy, simple and interesting way. I am Mrs Coetzee and today I'm going to teach you ontkenning of negatiewe vorm. That is how to turn a sentence in a very easy way to the negative in Afrikaans. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let's do this. Okay, today we are going to look at ontkenning or negatives in Afrikaans. Now, how do we ask this question? Look at the question here. We say verander na die negatiewe vorm, or we can say die ontkennende vorm. When you get this question, you know that you need to turn the sentence to the negative. Now, the golden rule, this is the strongest rule in Afrikaans. Nothing can break this rule, and that is a negative sentence must end on a nie. So when you do this work, all your answers must end on a nie. Right, let's look. We find 3 rules when we do ontkenning. Let me show you what I mean. So if we give you this sentence, the first thing I want you to do is to put a nie at the end. You see? And then you look at the first word there. So nie at the end, the first word. If that word is not a verb, you are dealing with rule 1. If it is a verb, you are dealing with rule 2 or rule 3. In rule 1, I just showed you there's no verb in the front of your sentence. The moment there's a verb in the front of your sentence, you are dealing with rule 2 or rule 3. The only difference is they are both requests, but this one has got a please. It's more a polite request. So let's look at each rule individually. So remember, your answer must end on a nie. So when you have a sentence, you put the nie at the end. Then you look at the first word. If your first word is not a verb, you are dealing with rule 1. You are dealing with statements or questions. Questions and statements are always rule 1. What you need to do when it's rule 1, you need to learn this very carefully. You put a nie at the end of the sentence and you look for a negative inside. Now look for a word, I'll get to it later. I call them a slide forward. That is a word inside your sentence that's got a built-in negative form. Like errands goes to nærhens, like you also have like somewhere goes to nowhere. So if you don't find a word that can change to the negative, you provide the negative by putting a nie after your first verb, and that's your answer. I'll show you examples later. Right, let's go to rule 2. Now you know rule 2 and rule 3, they start with a verb. The only difference is this one has not got a asseblief, and in rule 3 you have a asseblief. There's a please. Now you do the same thing with both these rules. The moment there's a verb in the front, you move it to the end of the sentence in both these rules. You put your nie at the end, as I taught you. You always do that first, and then if there's a verb in the front, get rid of it. No, don't throw it away. Just move it to the end before that nie that you have added at the end, and in the whole, when there's no asseblief, you put moenie, and if there's a asseblief, you will put moet asseblief nie. So that's your 2 options. There's no verb in front, then it's rule 1. You just put in your 2 negatives. If there's a verb in the front, you put it at the end, and then you're either going to start your answer with moenie or moet asseblief nie. And remember your nie at the end of your sentence. Right. Let's look at these slide forwards. This is in rule 1 and in questions and statements where you have inside a negative. It is a word that has got its own negative form, and then you change it to the negative. So al goes to nog nie together with alreeds and reeds. They all mean yet. Then please learn them very, very well, because you cannot do negatives if you don't know these changes. Nog means still, it goes to nie meer. And the rest you know because it's the same as in English. So these words you might find in the middle of a statement or a question, and then you just change them to their negative form and you put a nie at the end. If you don't find one of these words, then you provide the negative by putting a nie after the first verb. Let me show you. Now, when you analyze these sentences, the first thing you do, I told you, you put a nie right at the end of your sentence. So look at the examples. You will put a nie at the end of each of these sentences. These are the questions. Right, then you look at the first word. Now you can see in rule 1, the first word is not a verb. It's a person, it's a I. Then all you need to do, you leave that word there and you need to look for the negative inside. There's a nog, one of the slide 4 words, and it'll go to nie meer. And that's your answer. If you can't find one of the slide 4 words, then you put a nie after the first verb. And your verb is usually your second or your third word. If there's a verb in the front, in both cases, rule 2 and rule 3, you've put your nie there, you've put the doen before the nie in both cases, but in this one, the command, you will say moenie nou dadelik jou huiswerk doen nie. And with the last one, you will say moet asseblief nie hierdie oefening vir huiswerk doen nie. So number 1, the first one will read, ek het nie meer. It changes to nie meer baie huiswerk om te doen nie. And the second one is, ek weet nie watter huiswerk om te doen nie. And that is how easy negatives are in Afrikaans. Thank you for watching, and please remember to subscribe and shift your learning.